Mastering the "nothing bothers me" mindset. In a world that constantly demands your attention, energy, and reaction, true power lies in one rare skill: the ability to remain unaffected. Mastering the "nothing bothers me" mindset isn't about apathy or coldness, it's about cultivating emotional discipline. It's choosing not to be a puppet of external forces. It's realizing that your inner peace is worth protecting, and no one gets to pull you out of it without your permission. We often think strength is shown through action, confrontation, or proving a point. But real strength is quiet. It's invisible. It's in the moment you could react, but choose not to. It's in the deep breath you take instead of the insults you throw. When you master indifference, not in the sense of not caring, but in the sense of not needing to react, you take back control of your life. Detachment doesn't mean disconnection. It means observing without absorbing. You see the chaos, the criticism, the pressure, but you don't let it in. You're the calm eye in the center of the storm. People notice that. And more importantly, they respect it. Why? Because unshakable confidence doesn't come from shouting the loudest. It comes from knowing who you are so well, no one else's opinion can touch you. When you stop giving your emotions away to every small inconvenience, you stop being controlled. You become the one in charge, not your circumstances, not your mood, not your ego. Think of it like this: every time you react emotionally to something outside of you, you're handing over your power. But when you pause, stay still, and respond with intention, or not at all, you're telling the world, "I don't move unless I choose to." This mindset is magnetic. It commands attention without demanding it. People are drawn to those who don't flinch, who don't crumble, who don't let little things break their focus. It's a quiet kind of authority, the kind that can't be faked. Building this mindset takes practice. You'll have moments where anger, anxiety, or frustration try to take over. That's normal. But each time you resist the urge to react blindly, you reinforce your power. You're training your mind to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. So the next time life throws chaos your way, remember, your calm is your weapon. Your indifference is your armor. Master that, and nothing can touch you. Emotional detachment, the power of inner control. Emotional detachment often gets a bad reputation. People hear the term and think it means shutting down, becoming cold, or pretending nothing affects you. But true emotional detachment is something entirely different, and far more powerful. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about mastering them. It's the decision to stop giving your inner peace away to things, or people, that don't deserve it. We live in a reactive world. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly your whole day is ruined. One rude comment online, and you're spiraling. But what if you didn't have to respond that way? What if you could feel everything without being ruled by any of it? That's the core of emotional detachment, feeling with awareness, not attachment. You can acknowledge your anger, disappointment, or sadness, without letting it dictate your behavior. You become the observer of your emotions, not the hostage of them. This shift in perspective changes everything. Stress levels go down because you're no longer taking every challenge as a personal attack. Your clarity increases because your mind isn't clouded by overreaction or emotional fog. And instead of seeing problems as battles to be fought, you begin to see them as puzzles to be solved, with calm, curiosity, and strategy. Imagine walking into a tense situation at work. Everyone's emotional, reactive, and on edge. But you? You're composed. You assess. You act with intention. That's not weakness, it's strength. Emotional detachment gives you the space between stimulus and response. It gives you power over your reactions. And in that space, you can choose wisdom over impulse, direction over distraction. Now, let's be clear, emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care without losing yourself. It's about drawing a healthy boundary between you and the chaos of the world. You still feel, you still connect, you still love, but from a grounded place. Over time, this mindset rewires your entire way of living. You're no longer constantly drained by every disagreement or drama. You stop chasing closure, validation, or approval. You operate from a place of self-respect and inner calm. And here's the bonus: people are drawn to that energy. They feel safe around someone who isn't easily shaken. Someone who sees clearly and chooses peace over reaction. Emotional detachment isn't just self-protection, it's self-mastery. So the next time life tries to pull you into the noise, pause. Breathe. Remember, you don't have to go to every emotional invitation you're sent. Keep your peace sacred. Observe, don't absorb. And most of all, know that true strength isn't in how loudly you react, but how quietly you remain unshaken. Mindful indifference as a superpower. In a world that constantly tells you to care about everything, all the time, there's a quiet power in choosing not to. Not out of apathy, but out of clarity. This is what we call mindful indifference, the intentional decision to care about what matters and let go of what doesn't. It's not emotional numbness. It's emotional intelligence. And in today's overstimulated world, it's a superpower. Here's the truth: most things don't matter. Not in the long run. Not to your peace. Not to your purpose. The rude comment? Gone tomorrow. The traffic jam? Forgotten by dinner. The judgment from someone who doesn't know you? Completely irrelevant. Yet we often burn out trying to control or respond to all these little things. Why? Because we haven't been taught to filter what deserves our energy. Mindful indifference is that filter. It's the ability to pause and ask, does this deserve my attention? Is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, you let it pass. Not everything requires your reaction. Not every invitation to chaos needs an RSVP. When you embrace this mindset, you stop reacting impulsively. You start responding strategically. You prioritize your energy the same way you prioritize your money or your time, wisely and intentionally. You stop giving premium access to things, or people, that don't pay emotional rent. More importantly, mindful indifference is rooted in self-worth. You no longer chase validation or approval, because you've already validated yourself. You're no longer swayed by public opinion, online noise, or outside pressure, because your worth doesn't live out there, it lives within. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you calm. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you selective. And when you're selective about what gets your attention, your life becomes lighter, quieter, and more focused. It's also incredibly liberating. You free yourself from the exhausting task of trying to control everything. You stop fighting every battle. You stop proving your point in every conversation. You stop overthinking every interaction. You simply let go. And in that letting go, you rise above. People will notice. You'll carry a quiet confidence. A stillness. You won't be the loudest in the room, but you'll be the most grounded. And that's magnetic. So, if you're tired of being emotionally drained by every little thing, try this: zoom out. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this actually matter? Most of the time, it doesn't. And the moment you realize that, you've already taken your power back. Mindful indifference isn't giving up. It's leveling up. Stop seeking approval. Take back your power. Seeking approval feels harmless, natural, even. After all, we're social beings. We want to be liked. We want to feel accepted. But here's the harsh truth: when you constantly chase approval, you're putting your self-worth in other people's hands. And that's a dangerous place to leave something so valuable. Every time you adjust yourself just to be accepted, every time you silence your truth to avoid judgment, every time you wait for a yes from someone else to feel good about who you are, you give away your power. Bit by bit. Approval seeking is a trap. It disguises itself as connection, but it's actually a form of self-abandonment. You trade authenticity for validation, peace for performance. And the worst part? Even when you do get the approval, it never really feels like enough. Why? Because it didn't come from you. True confidence isn't built on applause, it's built on self-reliance. It's the kind of inner trust that says, I'm good with who I am, even if others don't get it. That doesn't mean you stop growing or ignore feedback. It means your growth isn't fueled by fear of rejection, It's led by your values, your standards, your purpose. When you release the need to be liked by everyone, something amazing happens. You start liking yourself more. You begin to speak more honestly, live more freely, and show up more fully. You realize that approval is fickle, but self-acceptance is freedom. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone needs to. In fact, trying to please everyone usually leads to pleasing no one, including yourself. The most magnetic people aren't the ones trying to blend in. They're the ones bold enough to stand out, rooted in who they are. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing approval, you often gain more respect. People sense when you're centered. When you're not desperate to be liked, you become someone worth noticing, not because you're loud, but because you're real. So stop asking the world for permission to be yourself. Start giving it to yourself. Approve of your own journey. Validate your own voice. Trust your own decisions. Every time you do, you build a deeper kind of confidence. One that doesn't waver with opinions. One that doesn't shrink under pressure. One that stands tall, even in silence. Let go of the need to be liked. Embrace the power of being authentically you. That's where real peace and real power begin. Handle criticism logically, protect your peace, use what matters. Criticism is a part of life, there's no escaping it. No matter how kind, careful, or talented you are, someone will always have something to say. And that's okay. What matters isn't avoiding criticism, it's learning how to handle it logically. The problem most people face is they absorb every piece of criticism emotionally. They internalize it. They overthink it. They let it shape how they see themselves. But when you approach criticism with logic instead of ego, everything shifts. Judgment from someone who doesn't know you before reacting. Completely irrelevant. When someone criticizes you, we often burn out trying to control might be to respond to all these little things, or take it personally. Why? But because we haven't been taught to filter what deserves our energy. Clearly. Mindful indifference is that filter. Is this criticism the ability to pause or destructive? Does this person have insight or experience worth listening to? Is this worth my peace? Is there any truth in what they're saying that can help me grow? Not everything requires your reaction. Take the Not every part. Invitation to chaos use it as feedback. When you embrace this mindset, perspective, you stop reacting impulsively. That's how you grow stronger. You start responding. But if the answer is no, if the criticism is rooted in your energy the same way jealousy, you prioritize your money or your time, let it go. Wisely it's and noise, not truth. You stop giving premium criticism comes from a place of care or experience that don't pay emotional rent. It's specific. More importantly, it focuses on behavior is rooted in self-worth. It offers suggestions, you no longer chase validation or approval. Because you've already validated yourself. On the other hand, is vague, no longer swayed by public opinion, and often aimed at tearing down or outside pressure. Because your worth doesn't live out your own filter. It lives within. Just because someone has an opinion doesn't mean it deserves space in your mind. It doesn't make you selfish. You don't owe every critic a reaction. It makes you selective. Some opinions are best left on. And when you're selective about what gets your attention, also your life becomes lighter. People's criticism often says more about them than it does about you. It's also incredibly liberating. Insecure people criticize you free yourself from the exhausting task of trying to control everything. To project their pain. You stop fighting every battle. Not everything said to you is meant for you. You stop proving your point in every conversation. Yours. You stop choose logic over emotion in how you process feedback. You protect your peace. And in that letting go, living you rise above. You stop letting every opinion shape your confidence. You carry a quiet confidence. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or you won't be the loudest in the room. It means you'll be the most grounded. And you listen to improve, not to please. So if you're tired of being emotionally drained but not vulnerable to every attack, zoom out. That's strength. Breathe. So next time criticism comes your way, does this actually matter? Most of the time, it doesn't. Pause, and the moment you realize that, is this helping you your power back? If yes, mindful indifference isn't giving up. If no, it's leveling up and move on. Stop seeking criticism logically. Take back your power. And like any skill, feels it gets stronger the more you practice it. Even over time, after all, you'll find that nothing rattles you like before. We want to be liked because you've mastered the art of filtering truth from noise. But here's the harsh truth, and that's a quiet kind of power. When you constantly chase approval, keep your composure, putting your self-worth in other people's hands. Of the unshakable, and that's a dangerous place not to leave something so valuable. It's the rule. Every time you adjust yourself just to be accepted, and throw the unexpected every time you silence your truth again to avoid judgment. The question isn't every time you wait for a yes from someone else to feel good about who you are, or stay composed. You give away your power. Keeping your composure under pressure isn't about pretending everything is a trap. It's about
disguises
training your
itself
mind
as
to stay
connection,
calm even
but
when
it's
things
actually a
aren't.
form of self-abandonment.
It's not about controlling
You
everything
trade
around
authenticity
you.
for validation.
It's about mastering
peace for
everything within
performance.
you. And
Here's
the
the
worst
truth.
part, you can't always
Even when you
control
do get the
outcomes,
approval,
people,
it
or
never
timing.
really feels like enough.
But you can always control
Why?
your response.
Because it didn't
And
come
that's
from
where
you.
real power begins.
True confidence isn't
The
built
key
on
is
applause.
detachment.
It's
not
built
from
on
reality,
self-reliance,
but from the need for
it's the
everything
kind
to
of
go
inner
your
trust
way.
that says,
When you stop
I'm good
clinging
with
to
who I
control,
am,
you
even
free
if
yourself
others
to
don't
think
get it.
clearly.
That
Pressure
doesn't mean you
becomes
stop
less about
growing or
panic
ignore feedback,
and more about presence.
It means your growth
You
isn't
stop
fueled by
reacting
fear of
emotionally
rejection
and start
it's
responding
led by your
strategically.
values, your standards,
Because
your
emotional
purpose.
reactions are fast.
When you release the
but
need
not
to be
always
liked by
useful.
everyone,
They
something
come from
amazing
fear,
happens.
frustration,
You start
or
liking
ego.
yourself more.
Strategic
You
responses,
begin to speak
on the
more
other hand,
honestly,
come from
live
awareness,
more freely,
from
and show up
clarity,
more fully.
from strength.
You realize that approval
that
is fickle,
split-second pause
but
between what
self-acceptance
happens and
is
how you
freedom.
react.
Not everyone
That's
will
where
like
composure
you.
lives.
Not everyone
Think
needs
of any
to.
elite performer.
In fact,
an athlete,
trying to please
a leader,
everyone
a
usually
surgeon,
leads to
a
pleasing no
soldier.
one,
What
including
separates
yourself.
the good from the great
The
is
most
not
magnetic
talent
people
alone.
aren't the ones trying
It's
to blend
composure
in.
under pressure.
They're the ones bold enough
the
to
ability
stand
to
out,
stay
rooted
focused
in
while
who they
others
are.
panic.
And here's
think
the
straight
irony:
when chaos
when you
hits.
stop chasing approval,
To trust
you
themselves,
often gain more
even
respect.
when the outcome is uncertain.
People sense when you're centered.
This level of calm
when you're
doesn't
not
come by
desperate to be
accident.
liked, you become
It comes
someone
from
worth
preparation,
noticing. Not because
from
you're
mental
loud,
discipline,
but because you're
from
real.
facing challenges
So
instead of
stop
avoiding
asking
them.
the world for permission
Every
to be
stressful
yourself.
moment is a chance to
Start
practice
giving
control.
it to yourself, not over the world.
Approve of your own
but over
journey.
yourself. Validate
And
your
the
own
more you
voice.
practice, the stronger
Trust
you
your own
become.
decisions.
You stop letting
Every time
external
you do,
pressure shake
you
your
build a
internal
deeper
peace.
kind of confidence.
You become the person
One that
others
doesn't
look to
waver
in
with
uncertain
opinions.
times.
Not
One
because
that
you're
doesn't
louder or
shrink under
tougher,
pressure,
but because you're
one
centered.
that stands tall,
Here's
even
the
in
bonus.
silence.
When you stay
Let
composed,
go of the need to
you
be
make
liked.
better decisions.
Embrace the power
you protect
of being
your energy.
authentically you.
You gain
That's where
respect.
real peace
And most
and real
importantly,
power
you don't
begin.
burn yourself out
Handle
reacting to
criticism
everything
logically.
emotionally.
Protect your peace.
You move with
Use
intention,
what matters,
not impulse.
Criticism is a
So
part
the
of
next
life.
time pressure comes,
There's no
don't
escaping
run.
it.
Don't
No
freeze.
matter how kind, careful,
Breathe.
or talented
Pause.
you are, someone
Think.
will always have something
Respond.
to say. And
This
that's
is your
okay.
training ground.
What matters
Your
isn't
chance to
avoiding
strengthen your
criticism.
mind.
It's learning how
to
to
prove
handle
to
it
yourself
logically.
that no matter what's
The
happening
problem
outside,
most people face
you've
is
got
they
control
absorb
on
every
the
piece
inside.
of criticism emotionally.
Because once you've mastered
they
self-control
internalize
under
it.
pressure,
You
they
become
overthink it.
unstoppable.
They
Not
let it
because
shape
the
how
world
they see
got
themselves,
easier,
but because
when
you
you
got
approach
stronger.
criticism with logic
Letting go
instead
of what you
ego,
can't control,
everything shifts.
the path to inner freedom. One of the biggest sources of suffering in life isn't what happens to us. It's how tightly we hold on to how we think things should happen. We get attached to outcomes. We build expectations. And when reality doesn't match our vision, we feel pain, frustration, even despair. But here's a truth that changes everything. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. And in that space of surrender, of letting go, real mental strength begins. We try so hard to force life into our timeline. We cling to people, results, plans. But the more we grip, the more anxious we become. Control is an illusion, and the tighter you hold it, the more life slips through your fingers. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop caring or trying. It means you stop resisting what is. It means you make peace with uncertainty. You stop fighting battles you can't win, like trying to change other people, predict the future, or avoid every failure. When you let go of control, you take back your energy. You stop wasting mental space on things outside of your influence, and you begin to focus on what you can control. Your attitude. Your actions. Your mindset. Your boundaries. Your response to what life throws at you. That shift alone is powerful. Because while you can't control the waves, you can learn how to surf. You can adapt. You can stay flexible. You can move with life instead of constantly resisting it. Detachment isn't disconnection, it's freedom. It's showing up fully in life, but without being ruled by every twist and turn. It's loving without possession. Working without obsession. Hoping without expectation. You give your best and then you release. And when you release, something amazing happens. You become lighter. Calmer. Stronger. You stop being thrown around by every outcome, every delay, every opinion. You stay grounded in your own peace, regardless of what's happening outside. This mindset doesn't come overnight, it takes practice. But each time you remind yourself, this is out of my hands, but how I show up isn't. You grow. You build inner resilience.
You rise above chaos. So the next time you feel the tension of trying to control something uncontrollable, pause. Breathe. Let it go. Focus on your response, your effort, your energy. Because the secret to peace isn't in controlling life, it's in learning to flow with it, fully present, fully engaged, and completely untangled from what you can't control. That's not weakness. That's strength at its highest level. Silence as the ultimate power move. Let stillness speak for you. In today's world, loud, chaotic, and desperate for attention, silence is rare. And because it's rare, it's powerful. While everyone rushes to speak, to argue, to prove themselves, the one who stays quiet often holds the most influence. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they choose when and how to speak. Silence is not weakness. It's not submission. It's strategy. Speaking less makes room for clarity. You don't get caught in emotional spirals. You don't expose your hand too early. You don't say things you'll regret. You stay in control, not just of the conversation, but of yourself. Silence forces people to fill in the gaps. And in doing so, they reveal more: their intentions, their insecurities, their need for approval. Meanwhile, you're observing, analyzing, and holding your power. Because when you're not speaking, you're learning. It also makes others uncomfortable, especially those who seek validation through noise. Your calm becomes intimidating. Your stillness creates mystery. And mystery? That's leverage. When people can't predict you, they can't control you. Think about it: the most powerful individuals in any room aren't usually the loudest. They don't need to prove anything. Their presence speaks for itself. Their words are measured, intentional, and often few. And because of that, when they do speak, people listen. This doesn't mean being passive or cold. It means choosing your moments. Speaking with purpose, not pressure. You become deliberate instead of reactive. And that's a rare trait in a world that rewards instant replies and overexposure. Silence also gives you time. Time to think, to calm down, to calculate. In a disagreement, silence can diffuse emotion. In negotiation, it can create tension that works in your favor. In leadership, it builds respect. And in personal growth, it allows self-reflection. Even in conflict, silence can be your greatest weapon, not the kind that hurts, but the kind that disarms. You don't have to clap back at every insult. You don't have to correct every lie. Sometimes the best response is no response. Because silence in those moments says, "You're not worth my energy." And that's the real power: emotional control. The ability to stay grounded while others spin. The strength to listen without reacting. The confidence to know your value, without shouting it. So don't be afraid of silence. Lean into it. Let others talk themselves in circles while you sit steady. Let your actions speak, your energy speak, your presence speak. Because in the end, silence isn't emptiness. It's authority. Train yourself to stay calm no matter what. Master your mind, master your life. In life, challenges are inevitable. Whether it's a stressful situation at work, a disagreement with a loved one, or unexpected adversity, pressure will find its way to you. But the true test isn't whether problems arise, it's how you respond to them. Your mind is your battlefield, and the way you train it can determine your ability to stay calm, no matter what comes your way. The first step to mastering your mind is recognizing that you can control your reactions. You can't always control what happens around you, but you have the power to choose how you respond. When stress hits, most people react impulsively, reacting emotionally instead of strategically. But this only fuels negativity and chaos. Gratitude, discipline, and detachment are your weapons in this battle. Instead of letting negative thoughts spiral, you can choose gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right. It grounds you in the present moment and reminds you of all the things you have, instead of what you lack. Discipline is what helps you take control. It's the ability to train your mind to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully, even in moments of intense pressure. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about controlling them, refusing to let them control you. Every time you practice discipline, you build mental strength, making it easier to stay calm under pressure the next time. And then there's detachment. This doesn't mean being indifferent or disconnected from the world. It means letting go of the need for control and accepting things as they are. Detachment allows you to release the emotional charge of external events. You stop reacting to things outside of your control and focus on what you can do. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you present and effective. To build this strength, it requires consistent training. Just as you would train your body to be stronger through exercise, you must train your mind to be resilient. This starts with small daily practices. Every time you pause before reacting, you reinforce your ability to stay calm. Every deep breath you take in a tense moment, you're strengthening your control. Start by setting aside time each day for mental training. This could be through mindfulness, meditation, or simply taking moments throughout the day to check in with yourself. Practice gratitude daily. Write down 3 things you're thankful for, and focus on what you can control. When stressful situations arise, pause and breathe before you act. This will soon become your natural response. When you train yourself to stay calm, you stop becoming a victim of your circumstances. You stop letting external forces dictate your emotional state. You become a master of your mind, and in doing so, you gain control over everything else. Your mind is your greatest asset. Train it wisely, and you'll find that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it with grace, focus, and unshakable calm.